It's what?
That's until then. You know, when it's waning, you get more and more pessimistic.
So that means at what time?
Well, Makara Sankranti will be the big day because that's when it's more light.
Makara Sankranti. Oh, you're talking about days, as the days go by.
Yeah, you're going to come, are you coming to Makara Sankranti? There's a Rosh Hashanah.
That's on Monday? I got a message that Janaki is, there's another Shraddh ceremony of his mother this time. Last time was his father. So, and they're inviting for the same thing, I think, at Srila Puri Maharaj's Mat. Okay. I shall be there. Now, what about Makara Sankranti on that day?
What about it? It's
Like,
all over India. That's when the sun starts to travel north again.
uh-huh.
Bhishma Dev's disappearance.
Acha.
And also it was Mahaprabhu's sannyas.
On Makara Sankranti.
And is that when the sun is in that house, that's when people would leave your body during that time? You can leave this world?
Yeah, 6 months.
And so if Amsakajiki just maybe
Oh,
hold
yeah.
on until that day,
Hold on.
then maybe that's what he's waiting for, just hanging on by a thread. But I went to see him yesterday, and he could say yes and no. And he tries to talk, but he can't make a sound.
There's a different day for Mahaprabhu's sannyas.
Really?
Well, yeah, it's not on there. It's not on Makara Sankranti of the Magh. The Magh, the beginning of the month of Magh, Makara Sankranti on Monday. Right? I think it's this one. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sannyas Day. So the Sannyas Day is February 24th.
24?
So yeah, February 24th. And it's Purnima. It's Maghi Purnima. And
Did he wait like 10 days after he left home to take sannyas?
no, he went directly there.
And cut his hair?
Yep, all happened on that day. Late at night. We don't know exactly what time it was. Do we know? According to Chaitanya Bhagavat, I have to look at that again. But he left in the middle of the night, that's my understanding. Or at least like in the very early wee hours of the morning. Swam across the Ganga to the place that we go to, Nirdoi Ghat. That's called Nirdoi Ghat, where he's not showing any more mercy. Nirdoi. And then he walked up to Katwa. Yeah. So that's on February 24th. You were mistaking it for January, huh?
That's on February 24th.
Yeah, Mahaprabhu Sannyas Day. Mm-hmm. And just for our information, in these next, okay, Srila Jiva Goswami's disappearance day is on Sunday.
This Sunday.
That's correct, yes.
So,
This Sunday, Jiva Goswami. And today is one of the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Bhakti Saurabh. Bhakti Saurabh Bhakti Sar Maharaj. And then tomorrow is Srila Lochan Das Thakur. Last Tuesday we didn't look at it, but when we had our class, Sri Mahesh Pandit and Sri Udaran Dutt Thakur, associates of Mahaprabhu, their disappearance days. And then on Monday was Devananda Pandit and Srila Bhakti Bhudev Shroti Maharaj. So, now coming up Ganga Sagara Snan Mela Makara Sankranti on Monday the 15th. Then there's nothing on the Tuesday and Thursday. And then on the Sunday is Putrada Ekadasi. And then the next,
21st, did you say?
yeah, 21st Sunday. And then on Monday, Jagadish Pandit, his disappearance day. And on Tuesday, Srila Bhakti Kumud Santa Goswami Maharaj, more contemporary. Then on Thursday is Purnima, Sri Krishna Pushya Abhishek.
That's the departure day of Rishabh.
Right, right. He's already calculated. And so then that Sunday is Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj, and Sri Man Nayananda Das Babaji.
And we're flying to Ahmedabad on the 25th, that day that's full moon.
Right. And
5:30 in the morning.
then in that week while you're gone, on the Tuesday is Srila Bhakti Sambandha Turiyashrami Goswami Maharaj, appearance day. I'm going to have to catch up on a lot of these. I do that sometimes. If I miss it, then I go back and I read, because I get it in my Gmail, but I don't have time to read everything. And then, and that week that you're gone, in Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj's appearance day, and Narahari Seva Vigraha. Yes, you know who Narahari Seva Vigraha is, right? Intimate godbrother of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj.
Did he work with him and was preaching? Was he the one that Gurudev first heard from, or is that Vishnu?
No, that's Narothamananda, Narothamananda Das Brahmachari, who became Bhakti.
Madhusudan.
Yes, Kamala Madhusudan, right? Yes, Bhakti Kamala, and his Siksha Guru. There's very nice in Srila Bharati Maharaj's Remembrances book. Okay, now flipping over, that's the end of January. That's the 31st of January. That's 1 week into your journey. And then on the Thursday, which is the 1st of February, is Jayadev Goswami disappearance. And on that Sunday, Sri Lochan Das Thakur disappearance. Then on the next Tuesday is Ekadashi. And then is Srila Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Maharaj's appearance day on Wednesday. And then Thursday, nothing, but Friday's the big day, which I was mentioning. It would be good if you were back for that, because that's the 103rd appearance day of Srila Gurudev.
You're going to be staying in Mayapur at that time?
Is there going to be what?
Are you staying in Mayapur?
No. He mentioned to me about Nityananda Trayodasi, which is about 2 weeks after that, on the 22nd. That's Nityananda Trayodasi. So there's like a bunch of days in a row, like Vrahadvadashi, and then there's the Ekadasi day is the 20th, Tuesday the 20th, then Vrahadvadashi, then Nityananda Trayodasi. And then on Saturday is Mahaprabhu's Sannyas Day, and Narottam Das Thakur appearance, Bhaktivedanta Madhusudan Maharaj from the Devananda Gaudiya Math. He's actually the uncle of Sripad Bon Maharaj. That's what I understood. He was a very nice godbrother of our Gurudev, very learned personality also, very gentle. Anyway, that's what we have on the agenda. Oh, we cannot forget Advaita Saptami is 1 week after Gurudev's appearance day. And of course, there's the Vasanta Panchami day that has like 8 or 9. That's Wednesday. So maybe we'll be going there to, yeah, we were there last year, I think. for this day. Or it was the year before. Because we can already say last year for 2023. All right, so here's the phone. And I not happened upon, I can't use that word. It's been calling out to me on my bookshelf, put it that way. This book, Rag Vartma Chandrika. So I started reading it last night, afternoon and evening, just filled with nectar that it's so in line with everything that we've been studying, and even Srila Bhaktijivan Janardhan Maharaj's book that we just finished. This fills in, along with Upadeshamrita and Manasiksha. Have you read this book? Any of you?
I read first the book that Gurudev wanted to go and re-edit it.
Right. This is the re-edited version. Yeah, that was a long time ago when that came out. Yeah. Did you read? No. So I think this will be so good. It's very short, and it's all Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And you know what it tells? It's telling exactly, in detail, his explanation, as well as Jiva Goswami and other acharyas, how to enter this path of Rag. That's why it's called Rag Vartma Chandrika. And so, very interesting. And along with that is this book. You know what this book is? The Hidden Path of Devotion, Conversations on Rag Vartma Chandrika that Gurudev had with who? That's right. With the GBC. With the ISKCON leaders who came to him. They weren't all GBC members. There's Madhu. That's Madhu. Well, it's a new printing. Yes. I don't know. There he is right now. Because in this book, they have put a very nice picture of those persons who were hearing from Gurudev. Take a look. Mm-hmm. Let me see.
That's done.
So, Jai Sapadikar, Jai Dhoni.
He looks like that was like stolen now. Kamal looks like his heart was like stolen.
Looks like his heart is like stone.
Stolen.
Stolen.
Like
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, he's just like...
Well, we did hear. Who told that the other day? The last thing he was heard as saying before he got into the fateful car accident, as he was getting into the car, he expressed that. I'd like to know who heard it from him and like that.
He's not favorable, so he has no reason to
Yeah.
promote
That the biggest mistake in my life was,
that having left
yeah. Yeah.
I like all his disciples, I was thinking
That's why that's the first thing I say is I have to find out who said it.
But Mishra
what's the veracity of it, you know? Okay, microphone, Jai Dhvani. Mic is right there. Madhavi, microphone. Ki Jai. Ki Jai. 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 Maharaj ki Jai. 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 Srinivas. Ki Jai. 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 Ki Jai. 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 Ki Jai. Jai. Ki Jai. 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 Ki Jai. 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 Ki Jai. 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 Anande Hari Hari Bol. Shri Krishna Chaitanya and Hare Krishna.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabhajanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tishe Nama Nityanandam Namastubhyam Prema Ananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmashanashaya Janava Pataye Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Guru Dev, Nitya Leela Pravishta, Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astotarashata Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Guru Devs Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I offer my Dandavat Pranams at the lotus feet of all of my Sri Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga and my Dandavat Pranams to all of the Vaishnavas and to all of the Vaishnavis. What's that sound? Something outside? Yeah. Okay. So the 8th shloka of Sri Upadeshamrita, I wanted to read the other 3 commentaries from that 8th shloka. We read our Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj's commentary the other day. So I want to complete that 8th shloka, and then I want to segue, that's a new word, I want to segue into Raghavartma Chandrika. You know, when Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj used to come to give class, I was told, and I've also seen it on videos, he would bring a stack of books. What he was preaching, what he was particularly reading on, he did some research, and then he wanted to bring these books to quote from and verification. So all study, actually, of all of our shastras, in this Rupanuga shastras especially, is always incorporating many of the different commentaries. We cannot do a proper and thorough study without that. So the more that we delve deeply into the insights and to the realizations that are being expressed by our Gaudiya Acharyas, the more deeply we grasp the subject matter. So I was mentioning before we began the class that I also wanted to add to our Upadeshamrita and the Manasiksha this book by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Rag Vartma Chandrika, which our Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj gave commentary on. And then in the midst of that, we'll also read some of his personal lectures that were given to ISKCON leaders that came to him to hear about Rag Vartma Chandrika. So that will be an interesting study. So the 8th verse of Sri Upadeshamrita, I'm reading the translation and the verse again. Jannama rupa charitadi sukirtananu smrityo kramena rasana manasi niyojya tishtan brajetad anuragi jananugami kalam nayed akilam iti upadesha saram. Can you repeat after me? Tannama rupa charitadi sukirtananu smrityo kramena rasana manasi niyojya tishtan braje tad anuragi jananugami kalam nayed akilam iti upadesha saram. Translation: while living in Braja, as a follower of the eternal residents of Braj, who possess inherent spontaneous love for Sri Krishna, one should utilize all one's time by sequentially engaging the tongue and the mind. Can we close that door? By sequentially engaging the tongue and the mind in meticulous chanting and remembrance of Krishna's names, form, qualities, and pastimes. This is the essence of all instructions. So now we're going to hear the Upadesh Prakashika Tika of Srila Radharaman Das Goswami. So at this point, these questions may arise in the mind of a new sadhak. Where should one reside to cultivate the devotional activities headed by the chanting of Sri Krishna's name? And how should one go about it? What are the two questions? Yes. Now this verse, which constitutes the essence of all instruction, it has been composed to answer these questions. The conventional meaning of the name of Krishna is drawn from the verbal root krish, which means, do you know? To attract. Krish means to attract or to draw towards oneself. To attract or to draw towards oneself. That's the verbal root root Krish. So thus, Krishna is famed as the attractor of the hearts of all living entities in the entire world. In Braja, he is known also as Yashodanandan, the darling son of Yashoda. So therefore, all devotees should utilize the entirety of their time in engaging their tongues in performing kirtan of Sri Krishna's names, form, qualities, and pastimes, and their mind should be engaged in remembrance of him. They should reside only in Sri Vraj Mandala and follow elevated devotees. Now, how should one follow devotees? How should one follow devotees? That's a good question. How should one follow devotees? Now, by two types of devotion. That's how you follow devotees. One type, Vaidhi. Vaidhi is devotion performed in conjunction with the rules and the regulations of the scriptures. And then the other, Rag Anuga, spontaneous devotion. Now, accordingly, there are also two types of sadhaks. Those who follow the path of Vaidhi and those who follow the path of Raganuga. Now, among these two, it is especially desirable to follow a Raganuga Bhakta. The meaning of Tad Anuragi Jananugami is to follow the intimate, eternal devotees in Sri Krishna's Vraj Lila. That's what is the meaning of those words, Tad Anuragi Jananugami. That means to follow the intimate, the eternal devotees in Sri Krishna's Vraj Lila. So one should cultivate Krishna Bhakti under the guidance of those Rasik Gurus who are themselves followers of the intimate, eternal devotees of Sri Brajendra Nandan. Sri Brajendra Nandan, who is the enactor of human-like pastimes. That's the commentary of Radharaman Das Goswami. So he's made it very clear that what does it mean to follow devotees? How should one follow devotees? You should follow devotees by doing two types of devotion, Vaidhi and Raganuga. And therefore, there are also two types of sadhaks, practitioners, those who follow the path of Vaidhi, those who follow the path of Raganuga. But among these two, it is especially desirable to follow a Raganuga Bhakti, a Bhakta. So who should we follow? There are two types of followers, but what type of Bhakta should be followed? It is especially desirable to follow a Raganuga Bhakta. So that's our authority. You have to find a Raganuga Bhakta. How will that happen? This book tells us how it happens, over lifetimes even. This Raghavartma Chandrika book. Now, again, I'm reading this for our emphasis in our mind, that in this line of this verse, Tad Anuragi Jananugami, Tishtan Braje, living in Braj, Tad Anuragi Jananugami. So say this word, Tad Anuragi Jananugami. Tad Anuragi Jananugami. So Tad Anuragi means who? Those who have anurag. And who are they? he said twice here, Krishna's intimate eternal associates of Brajendra Nandan Shyamasundar, who performs human-like pastimes in his eternal abode. They're the Anuragi Jan, that is Rupa Goswami is referring to here. Tishtan Braje Tad Anuragi Jan, he says. But there's another type of Jan. Jana means person. So, Tishtan Braje Tad Anuragi Jan, Anugami Jan. What is an Anugami? That word we're very familiar with. The word is Anuga. Right? What does Anuga mean? It means a follower. Like we like to use the word Rupanuga, Raganuga, Prabhupadanuga. Because it means following. This is what is talked about here in this verse. You have to live in Vraj following a devotee who is himself what? He is Anugami Jan. He's a follower. Who showed us that example? In Mahaprabhu's Leela, who showed us? All the associates of Mahaprabhu, but especially 6 Goswamis. Did they not show us, by their own example, how to live in Vraj and how to engage in the process that is being described in this 8th verse? If you study the Sad Goswami Ashtakam, especially the last four shlokas, then you'll see how the 6 Goswamis, with their sadhak rupa, with their physical bodies, they were performing the process of Anugami Jan. They're following the eternal associates of Radha and Krishna, but how are they doing it with their physical body? Do they dress themselves as gopis, like some persons have falsely interpreted? No, they don't. With their external dress and so forth, with their external activities, what are they doing? Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gana Natibi Kalavasani Krito. Sankhya Purvaka Nama. What does that mean? They're counting Nam on beads, which is what Mahaprabhu himself demonstrated and told all of his followers to do. In other words, Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gana Natibi. So they had a scheduled, this is what Prabhupada term he uses, scheduled chanting, scheduled kirtan and singing. In other words, per day in a 24-hour period, they would do X amount of chanting, they would do X amount of natibi, which means full dandavat pranams. That's how they were living in Braj. But what was their internal mood while they were doing that? Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gana Natibi Kalavasani Krito Nidra Hara Vihara Kadi Vijito Chatyanta Dino Chayo. So in so doing, practicing like this, they conquered over what? Nidra Ahara, sleeping, eating. Nidra Hara Vihara, and Vihara means relaxation. Nidra Hara Vihara Kadi Adi, beginning with those, Vijito. They were victorious over those. And Chatyanta Dino Chayo. Atyanta Dino means what? That they were extremely humble. They felt extreme humility. Chatyanta Dino, very fallen, very humble. Then what is the next line? Yeah, Radha Krishna, Guna Smriter Madhurima. They were constantly remembering the beautiful names, forms, qualities, pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Anandena mattaliko. And they were like maddened bumblebees in doing this. So the 6th Goswami Ashtakam, the Sad Goswami Ashtakam by Srila Srinivasacharya, it is a complete meditation on how did the 6 Goswamis live in Braj. Then Radha Kundam Tate Kalinda Tanaya Tire Chavam Shivate Premon Madhava Shada Shesha Dashaya Grasto Pramatto Sada. They were mad in prem, completely mad. Unmad means madness. They were wandering everywhere, on the banks of Radha Kunda, bank of Yamuna, everywhere. Pramatto Sada. Gayanto Chakada Harer Gunavaram. The Gayanto Chakada Harer Gunavaram. Oh, they were completely absorbed day and night in chanting again, Gana, in chanting. So the 6 Goswamis, they're the example of the Anugami Jan, because we can physically do that. We have physical human bodies, we can physically live in Braj, and we can physically move about Braj and try to bring within our heart a tiny little iota, reflection of an iota of the moods that the 6 Goswamis felt. We cannot artificially do that. We will have to live a pure life according to the sadhana bhakti principles given. So this should be understood by all devotees, that it is highly desirable to be able to locate, to be able to meet such personalities who internally are absorbed in these moods day and night. And guess who that was in recent history? Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. These are the Anugami Jan. They showed by their own life example. And for those who were sincere, they could easily recognize this person has entered into a domain that is so far above and beyond anything we can conceive of practically. And this is their state, 24 hours a day, you see. So it cannot be stressed enough that this verse by Rupa Goswami, spoken by Mahaprabhu, it is telling that you have to live in Braj under the guidance. We can't skip over that. If you don't have the mood of wanting to follow the eternal associates of Radha and Krishna in Braj, if that has not awakened in you, then you have to follow those who are following that mood. And by being in their association, hearing from them, serving them, then that mood will gradually come into your heart. It is highly fortunate. If someone does not yet have that good fortune, they will in due course of time. If they do what? If they try to live their lives according to Upadeshamrita. You will end up there. That's where you're going to end up. After following the first 7 shlokas of Upadeshamrita, you end up here, a shloka, right? If you don't end up there, you didn't follow the first 7 shlokas, actually. You feigned following them, that's all. But anybody who actually follows them consistently and surrenders, does sharanagati, then they enter into the realm of pure bhakti. They become an eligible candidate for actually following the principles of pure bhakti. So, moving on to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary on this verse. He's a little bit extensive and he quotes a number of shlokas. Wait a minute. Yeah, no, his is extremely short. Anuvritti commentary of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, more extensive. Very interesting. So we'll read this. So this is the Piyusha Varshani Vritti of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This verse describes the method of bhajan, as well as the topmost place for performing bhajan, with the intention of incessantly executing the gradual process of sadhana. With what intention? With the intention of incessantly executing the gradual process of sadhana, one should utilize every moment of his life by engaging the tongue in nicely performing kirtan of Sri Krishna's names, form, qualities, and pastimes, and then engaging the mind in smaran or remembrance upon them. We're going to repeat this sentence. You can repeat after me. With the intention of incessantly executing the gradual process of sadhana, one should utilize every moment of his life by engaging the tongue in nicely performing kirtan of Sri Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. And then the mind in smaran, or remembrance upon them. So now, this process should be executed while residing in Braj, and under the guidance of devotees who are immersed in Braj Ras. Have you heard that before? Braj Ras? Oh. Some persons have even heard it, but they don't understand it at all. Who's immersed in Braj Ras. This process should be executed while residing in Braj and under the guidance of devotees who are immersed in Braj Ras. In what? Yes. Now the performance of this Manasa Seva, this service rendered within the mind, it is dependent solely upon residing mentally in Braj. Can you do it without residing mentally in Braj? No, because it says right here, it is solely dependent upon that. Now, the vast majority of devotees are not living in Braj physically, are they? Right? The vast majority of devotees of Krishna who are dotted all over this planet now are not living in Braj. But if they can come to Braj kind of on a regular basis, then they'll get so much benefit. This is the very reason why Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj invited the whole world, wherever he went, he invited everyone, come to Braj Mandala Parikrama. Why? Because what one will gain by being physically in Braj and then trying to mentally become absorbed in being in Braj, through what? Through going along with very capable and very sincere sadhaks who are also trying to immerse themselves in Braj Ras and hearing all the pastimes and all of the subject matters that are given in the book, the Braj Mandala Parikrama book by our Gurudev and by other great acharyas. They have described all the different pastime places of the divine couple. and all of Krishna's places in all of Braj Mandala. They have described that. So this practice is not something that is newly invented. This was given by who? Who was this given by? In Hari Bhakti Vilas, by Sri Sanatana Goswami. And other personalities who were also in the association of Mahaprabhu were sent to Braj. Like before the 6 Goswamis arrived, Lokanath Goswami, Bhugarbha Goswami, like this. They traversed all of Braj Mandala. Narayan Bhatta Goswami, he also wrote books. And there are other great acharyas that have written books with very detailed information about these pastime places. So Gurudev's Vraj Mandala book, he refers to about 4 or 5 of these different books in his introduction, that he has utilized those books to write this Vraj Mandala Prikrama book. I never heard the term Braj Mandala Parikrama before I came in contact with Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. Did any of you? No, I never heard about Braj Mandala Parikrama. We didn't have that information yet. But Srila Prabhupada, when he came to Braj with his first disciples, we have videos actually of him, where he's walking with them in Radha Damodar temple. So he's showing them around. And we have some videos of Prabhupada taking bath, and I think it's Kusum Sarovara or one of those places in Braj. So in our first years of coming to India, we didn't know that during the month of Kartik, I mean, we barely even heard the word Kartik. You know that? Did you? I don't remember hearing the word Kartik very much back then. But that's because Srila Prabhupada was giving a lighter version of visiting the holy Dham and so forth. He wanted to direct his disciples in such a way that they would also be absorbed in service that they're eligible to perform. And as I said the other day, if he would have given the Upadeshamrita, then it would have become the topic. I have to get to Radhakund. I have to get to Radhakund. I'm going to Radhakund. But who are you going to be under the guidance of in Radhakund? Mostly cheating Babajis, which are the majority, even to this day. Mahanidhi Swami has lived there for like 30 years, and he told me. And he's seen all the different, and their practices and so forth. So it is not necessary to go and live there before one is eligible to live there. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he stressed this point. He said that my Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he told that I will live near Govardhan, near to, not in Radhakunda, but near, so that I can come regularly and serve my gurus who are residing there. And I will serve them, and then I will go back. You see, like this. So that's Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's very short, 1 paragraph commentary. He said, in the last sentence, he says, the performance of this manasa seva, the service rendered within the mind, it is dependent solely upon residing mentally in Braj. So we can see that there are so many devotees, and we can use a lot of our new Braj children that grew up with Gurudev coming every year. Some of them were able to also come on Braj Mandala Parikrama. But from such a young age, they were absorbed in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and Mahaprabhu, that they practiced to perform dramas up until the present day. And so very sweet, wonderful moods came into the heart, although they may not be highly qualified in doing Manasi Seva in Braj, but there are impressions there. Impressions are there. So now we're reading Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's commentary, his Anuvritti, for this 8th shloka. He is saying that by following the rules and regulations, prescribed in the previous verses, that means 1 through 7, then a sadhak should draw his mind away. A sadhak should draw his mind away from everything unrelated to Sri Krishna and should engage his tongue in performing kirtan of Krishna's Nam, Rupa, Guna, and Lila. And then, eventually, his mind will be able to enter into constant remembrance, smaran, of Krishna. Now, while residing in Braj, he should utilize all his time executing these activities under the guidance of devotees who are adept at relishing Braj Ras. This is the essence of all instruction. So if someone has been making an effort in their life to follow the practice given for the pathway of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and of course with a hope that one day in the future I will become eligible to enter into the path of Ragmarg Bhakti, Raganuga, which is a pathway of sadhana. These are 2 types of sadhana bhakti. They're not like some persons say, oh, that's when somebody enters into the stage of bhav, then that's called Raganuga Bhakti. No, before that, far before that. But in order to enter that, you need to read this book by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, wherein he's telling what are the methodology for actually entering into the Ragmarg Bhakti process. And it involves impressions. Very much so. It involves impressions from previous life, from this life, and the mercy of pure Vaishnavas. So, Srila Prabhupada is saying that then eventually his mind will be able to enter into constant remembrance, smaran, of Krishna. So while residing in Braj, he should utilize all his time executing these activities under the guidance of devotees who are adept at relishing Brajaras. This is the essence of all instruction. He goes on. In the devotional life of a sadhak, Shravan Dasha, or the stage of hearing, comes first. So this section that we're reading now is quoted by Srila Prabhupada pretty much verbatim. But now we'll hear the actual direct words. But in his verse, in his purport to this verse, he quoted Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So in the devotional life of a sadhak, Shravan Dasha, or the stage of hearing, it comes first. Does it not come first? In the devotional life of a sadhak? Shravan. What are we trying to practice? When we enter into devotional life, we live with devotees, or near to devotees, and we're trying to practice the limbs of bhakti. What is our main activity that we should be concerned about? Shravan, hearing. If someone is not hearing, how is their mind going to be absorbed? How will it be possible? Of course, they may say, well, I don't need to hear, I'm just going to hear Harinam. I'm just going to chant Hare Krishna. That's also good. But if you don't hear Srimad Bhagavatam and the books that are connected with Srimad Bhagavatam, how in the world are you going to enter into the higher stages of bhakti. There are 5 main activities that are given by Rupa Goswami. He has stressed 5 out of the 64 limbs of bhakti. And in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, he has also quoted that and given explanation of that. What are those 5 limbs that are the most important out of the 64? They're the chief ones. Well, the Bengali verse that is quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan Bhagavat Shravan Mathura Vasa Shri Murtir Shraddhaya Sevan. Then the next Bengali verse is discussing how even one of these processes is so powerful that one can attain Krishna Prem. But these are the chief of the 5 processes. So what is the first one? Sadhu Sangha. That we've heard here. What kind of sadhus? And what kind of Sangha? That's all important. Sadhu Sangha. Next one, Nam Kirtan. You must chant Nam. Your devotional life will barely creep along if you're not chanting Krishna's names. That is the process in the Kali Yuga. Who told that? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What verse did he quote? Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva kevalam. Kalo nastyeva, 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 gatiranyata. That in Kali Yuga, only Harinam, only Harinam, only Harinam. In Kali Yuga, there isn't any other way. Kalo nastyeva, there is not any other way. Nastyeva, nastyeva. Gatir anyata, to attain this gati, this ultimate goal. There's no other way. So Harinam is the process. It is the Yuga Dharma. So Gatir anyata. So Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan Bhagavat Shravan. What does Bhagavat Shravan mean? Yes. It's not saying any other name of any other literature. It's saying Bhagavat Shravan. That is the religious process given by Krishna at the end of the Dwapara Yuga, manifesting Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. The Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different than Krishna himself. You can even have the book Bhagavatam on a shelf and perform artik to that book, which Gurudev would do before he would have some. He only did a couple of times, these Bhagavat Sapta, but he had like a ceremony where he's doing artik to Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavat Shravan here, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is saying, in the devotional life of a sadhak, Shravan Dasha, or the stage of hearing, comes first. So always, hearing. So Mathura Vasa, after Bhagavat Shravan, then comes Mathura Vasa, which means what? Yes, residing in Mathura. That means Braj Mandala. And also we understand it to mean Navadvip Dham, Gaur Mandala. This is also the pastime places of Krishna in the combined form of Radha and Krishna as Mahaprabhu. So, Mathura Vasa, then the 5th one, Sri Murtir Shraddhaya Sevan. That means to serve the deity form of the Lord. Sri Murtir Shraddhaya, with great faith. Sevan, to serve. So these are the 5 most important activities in bhakti. So now, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is going to be describing here in this paragraph that what are the stages. There are also 5 stages that one progresses through while following this process. And he is called the Shravan Dasha, the stage of hearing, as the first stage. So he says, in this stage, the sadhak hears Krishna Nam, and he also hears narrations of Krishna's form, qualities, and pastimes. And by doing this more and more, he gradually becomes more mature. And then the stage of Varandasha begins. In this stage, he begins performing kirtan of those topics that he was hearing. Yes, yes. Not that you just hear, and then you never repeat. No, you're supposed to also repeat and hear and try to help others to hear about this. So that's called Varan Dasha. So, in this stage, he begins performing kirtan of those topics he was hearing. By performing kirtan with the specific devotional mood that one is cultivating, then he enters Smaran Dasha, the stage of remembrance. So first of all, Shravan Dasha, then Varan, acceptance, Varan Dasha, and then Smaran Dasha. So, he's saying that by performing kirtan with the specific devotional mood that one is cultivating, then he enters into Smaran Dasha, the stage of remembrance. Now, within the category of Smaran, there are 5 stages. So Smaran is which stage? Shravan, Varan, huh? Yes, 3rd stage, Shravan Dasha. Smaran, yes, Smaran Dasha, the stage of remembrance. So within the category of Smaran, there are 5 stages. Smaran, Dharana, Dhyana, Anusmriti, and Samadhi. In the Smaran stage. What does that mean? Meditation where the mind sometimes becomes distracted is called Smaran. Smaran that is devoid of such distraction is called Dharana. Unbroken contemplation upon the object of meditation is called Dhyan. We know that word, Dhyana. When Dhyan is performed constantly, then it is called Anusmriti. Anusmriti. When Dhyan is performed constantly. And when one's meditation becomes entirely free from impediments and is wholly uninterrupted, then it is called Samadhi. So after Smaran Dasha, then one enters the stage known as Apana Dasha. Apan Dasha. In this stage, the sadhak achieves realization of his pure spiritual identity. After this, in the stage known as Sampati Dasha, the last one, he attains Vastu Siddhi. What does Vastu Siddhi mean? Do you know? No. Your body, your eternal spiritual form. Where? Only internally? No. You take birth in Krishna's Leelas, first of all, in where? In his earthly pastimes. In any universe, not this universe. You have to directly be where Krishna is. And Krishna is always in one of the material universes. Did you know that? There's not a time when Krishna is not in any material universe. He's always traveling from one to another. That's inconceivable to our brain. Maybe he's even traveling in multiple, because there's supposed to be billions of universes, which is inconceivable to us. Even millions, even thousands of universes is inconceivable to us. Even one universe is inconceivable to us. But anyway, Krishna is in, when he leaves this universe, then he goes to another, then he goes to another and to another. Like the sun that is always in the sky. The sun is never not in the sky, but we're just not seeing it at night. But somebody else on another location, they're seeing it. So Krishna's pastimes are compared to the sun. So Vastu Siddhi is coming after Swarup Siddhi. What is Swarup Siddhi? That's the stage of Bhav. Bhav Avastha. The stage of Bhav. And in the stage of Bhav, one has full internal realization of his spiritual form and identity in Krishna's pastimes. That stage is called Bhav, and before that stage, it's still a stage of sadhana, but a very high stage. Before the attainment of the stage of Bhav, what are the stages before that, leading up to the attainment of Bhav? Yes, Ruchi and Asakti. And it is told in the Madhurya Kadambini that the stage of Asakti has the phenomena that the devotee receives spurtis, momentary visions of his spiritual form in that stage. But that is not constant. But in the stage of Bhav, fully revealed. So here the term is given by Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta. He's saying the stage of Apan Dasha. After Smaran Dasha, then one enters the stage known as Apan Dasha. And in this stage, the sadhak achieves realization of his pure spiritual identity. So what does that mean in terms of the stages of bhakti? What stage would that be? Bhav. It must be Bhav. Because here he's saying the sadhak achieves realization of his pure spiritual identity. So it begins in the stage of Ruchi, just before Asakti. In the Madhurya Kadambini, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is comparing the stage of Ruchi to a dancing instructor. You ever remember reading that? A dancing instructor. What does a dancing instructor do? With the pupil, with the student, the dancing instructor takes his own hands and places his hands on the limbs of the student and says, do like this, do like this, all the different arm movements, leg movements, everything. The dancing instructor is giving instructions for that, because what will the dance be? The dance will be your eternal relationship with Krishna. So to approach that stage, then asakti is compared to the dancing teacher, that now spurtis are coming. And now the internal moods of the sadhak are becoming prepared to actually receive the descent of Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma in the stage of Bhav, into the heart of the sadhak. So according to the stage of Sampati Dasha, the stage of Sampati Dasha is after the stage of Apan Dasha. And the stage of Sampati Dasha, he attains Vastu Siddhi. So at this time, he finally obtains a spiritual form. And he is appointed to his eternal service in the spiritual realm. How does that happen? He doesn't just suddenly pop up in the spiritual realm. No, he's born from the womb of a Braja Gopi in Krishna's Bhaum Leela, Krishna's earthly pastimes. That's how we first receive our eternal spiritual form, and all the moods that accompany that. And that means that we've attained prem, because you cannot take birth there without prem. But prem is only the first stage. Yes? You remember how prem is the first stage? And then what comes after prem? Prem progresses through different stages in your Vastu Siddhi spiritual body. It will progress. And Gurudev has often said that, like, for example, the Katyayani gopis, they were very young, very small girls, and they were determined. Why? Because in their previous lives, who were they? Who were these little girls who took birth in gopi bodies from the womb of a Braja Gopi in Krishna's Bhaum Leela? Who were they then in their previous lives? They were different groups. What's that term called? With a group and without a group. Yotaki and Ayotaki. Yotaki means group. So some of these jivas were brought by Yoga Maya to take birth in Braj from wherever they were, because they started to attain this perfection. And they came into the stage of prem in their sadhak deha. And in the stage of bhav, they attained the stage of bhav, then they were prepared. Because Gurudev has said many times over that one cannot attain prem in this present body. You remember hearing Gurudev explaining this? He says it's not possible. It's not possible to actually attain prem. Because some persons have interpreted in the Madhurya Kadambini that final realization of Krishna is that the devotee has attained prem. No, it's just prior to that. Because if prem manifested, what would happen to the material body? Huh? What would happen? No, it can't contain it. It would explode. So prem is so powerful. The material body cannot contain that. So first of all, the spiritual internal body has to contain it. Those moods and all the meditation that goes along with those moods, the internal Swarup Siddhi in the stage of Bhav has to come first. Then in that stage, the devotee deepens and deepens throughout that entire life, or however long Krishna has it scheduled for that jiva, that they will immerse deeper and deeper, and they'll develop all their moods of wanting to serve Krishna and actually internally meditating upon serving Krishna. That's the Raga Nuga process. That you're internally in your Siddha Rupena Chatrahi. In your Siddha Rup, you're also envisioning yourself serving Krishna. So that's why Srila Gurudev would sometimes, rarely, he would refer to this phenomena of a devotee. I mean, even like in the days when very young devotees were with Gurudev, but he could have influence on them because there wasn't big groups of devotees like Vishaka and others. And Gurudev told so many things. So did Prabhupada. He told to Yamuna Devi. He told her so many different special meditations, internal. So that's part of progressing through these 5 stages and finally coming to the stage of Apanadasha. Apanadasha, that's the stage in which the devotee has now received his spiritual form. That means the stage of Bhav. But the Sampati Dasha, the final, is the stage when he receives the Vastu Siddhi and he attains prem by taking birth in Krishna's pastimes. Now, does Prabhupada refer to that in his Krishna book? I want my scholarly audience to see if they remember any quotation like that. Yes. I can't remember which chapter of the Krishna book. But Prabhupada, we can research that and we can find that quote, where Prabhupada is saying that the devotee takes birth in Krishna's pastimes. And then Prabhupada says, and he sees Krishna directly for the first time. Yes. So Prabhupada has given the codes. He's given. But then Krishna arranged that we should come to the Braj Rasik Vaishnava to now go deeper and immerse ourselves, and then he gave all the books that we need. And he demonstrated in his own life, traveling on airplanes and, boats and cars and all over the world, but immersed 24 hours a day. Otherwise, how is he going to chant 1 and 2 lakhs on an airplane? I told this before. Gurudev arrived with a lot of us to Fiji Island. Short flight from New Zealand, I think. Either Australia or New Zealand. We were flying to Fiji for the first time with Gurudev. And I already told about his lion entrance into Fiji in the previous year, where the lion jumped. But now we came with Gurudev, I believe that was 1998. 98. So, what was I saying? How I came into this point about...
Chanting lag.
Yeah. So when we arrived at the airport, it was a smaller airport in Fiji, so we kind of came off the plane and then went to get our luggages and devotees. And, Gurudev was sitting off to the side because his servants would get his luggages. So the devotees kind of one by one, as they got their luggage, then they came over and sat by Gurudev. And I remember Gurudev asked to some senior devotee, I don't even remember who. So, how many rounds did you chant on the airplane coming here? Then we said, I think I chanted 4 rounds, Gurudev. Then Gurudev said, I chanted 1 lakh. Then Gurudev said, and you can see by the description of anybody that's traveled with Gurudev consistently, like Sajjan Maharaj will be here in a couple of days. He traveled with Gurudev quite a bit. And then Gurudev would get on the airplane, whether it was a morning flight or a noon flight or evening flight, and he would be served some prasadam in a tiffin. He would wash his hands after taking prasadam, put his hands in his bead bag, and that's it for the whole rest of the flight. And Gurudev said, when I go on a shorter flight, 3 hours, I chant 1 lakh. And when I go on a longer flight, 6, 10, 12, I chant 2 lakhs. How is it possible, I ask all of you, that unless someone is in that completely immersed, relishing, tasting the nectar dripping from Harinam, that they can do that? Is that just by, determination, like a neophyte, I'm going to sit and I'm going to chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, by force, of mental force and physical force? And no. This is pure Krishna Prem. That's what it is. So what Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is telling us here in his purport is that these stages are the gradual progress of Krishna bhajan, nam bhajan, living in Braj and meditating 24 hours a day. 24. He didn't say 23, he said 24. What about when you're sleeping? What did Gurudev say? I remember Gurudev was sitting and he said, I'm always chanting. Now, how is that possible that Gurudev is always chanting? Sometimes he's talking with people. Sometimes he's, sometimes he's in an assembly, he's lecturing and so forth. So how can he be always chanting? Huh? Yeah, internally. I've said this quite often because this really made an impression on me. San Francisco, the place that had a bowling alley that we rented, like on one floor, and then on the other floor it had a nice big room. Very wonderful festival that year. I think it was the second year that Gurudev came to the Bay Area, and Radhakanta rented this place. We're waiting in the parking lot for Gurudev, and Gurudev is getting out of the vehicle. We surround him. And Gurudev notices that in this parking lot there's a lot of other regular people, the public, who are also getting out of their cars, and their eyes are drawn toward this scene of this elderly Indian-bodied gentleman getting out of a vehicle, and all these young Westerners dressed in colorful Indian dress are surrounding him and walking with him. So then Gurudev made a comment on this. He said, these people, they are seeing us, they are seeing me, and they are seeing an old Indian gentleman walking across a parking lot. But they do not know that I am actually walking with a golden pot on my head to the Yamuna River to fetch water for Srimati Radhika's bathing. What does that mean? That means his internal reality is going on 24 hours a day. I don't know if you've ever noticed when we sit with Gurudev sometimes, especially in a private darshan, Gurudev's hearing, listening to you, but his fingers are doing something very very much that I've not seen other persons. Do you know what I'm referring to? Gurudev's fingers are doing different movements like this. Different peculiar movements as he's talking and so forth. What is that meditation? This is the Manjari Seva. Preparing pan. What is it called again? Yes, tambul, and like that. So many different, but there's an internal meditation going on in the perfected, realized Bhav Bhakta. Bhav Bhakta. He's Siddha Mahapurusha now. He's no longer a sadhak. He's a Mahapurush Siddha, 24 hours a day. You know, we were hearing before that there's described that there's a stage where you can't even bring your mind away from Krishna. It's not even possible for you. So that's what this 8th shloka, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, is explaining. So, at this time, after this, in the stage known as Sampati Dasha, he attains Vastu Siddhi. And at this time, he finally obtains a spiritual form, and he is appointed to his eternal service in the spiritual realm. Our acharyas pray for that, do they not? Siddha Deha Diya Vrindavana Maje. Huh? Sevamrita Korodan. Oh, praying to Radha and Krishna, Bhakti Vinod Thakur's song. Siddha Deha Diya. Oh, please give me my Siddha Deha. Where? Vrindavana Maje. In Vrindavan. What is it? Sevamrita Korodan. And give me the nectar of your service. So, now, Prabhupada, after telling us about those 5 stages, When a devotee following the path of Vaidhi Bhakti, when he abandons his many varieties of material desires, and he performs bhajan in accordance with the instructions of Shastra and Guru and Vaishnavas, then what happens? Ruchi arises in his bhajan, taste. Then upon the appearance of this ruchi, he abandons the path of Vaidhi Bhakti and he enters the path of Rag Anuga Bhakti. That's how it happens. Ruchi has to come. Now, Bhakti Prabhupada is quoting a number of shlokas here to confirm this. He's quoting from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 22, chapter 22. That's to Sanatana Goswami. Ragatmika Bhakti Mukhya Vrajavasi Jane Tar Anugata Bhaktir Rag Anuga Name. That devotion whose very essence is constituted of what? Rag, eternal spontaneous attachment. So that devotion whose very essence is constituted of eternal spontaneous attachment, rag, then that is known as Ragatmika Bhakti. Ragatmika Bhakti Mukhya Vrajavasi Jane. That devotion is preeminent among all forms of bhakti, and it is splendidly manifest in the residents of Braja, those who reside in Braja. Devotion that follows in the wake of this Ragatmika Bhakti is known as? What type of devotion follows in the wake of the Ragatmika Bhakti? Raganuga. Now he quotes from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ishte Swarasiki Raga. Ishte Swarasiki Raga Paramavishtata Bhavet. Tanmaiya Bhaved Bhakti Shatra Rag Atmikodita. So this is a definition verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. An unquenchable loving thirst. What is the term for unquenchable loving thirst? It's called Premamai Trishna. Trishna means unquenchable loving thirst. So in unquenchable loving thirst, Premamai Trishna, for the object of one's affection, Shri Krishna. That thirst that gives rise to spontaneous and intense absorption, which is called Swarasiki Paramavishtata. Swarasiki Paramavishtata. Complete internal absorption. Spontaneously. So this unquenchable loving thirst, this Premamai Trishna, for the object of our affection, namely Shri Krishna, that gives rise to spontaneous and intense absorption, Swarasaki Paramavishtata, in that object, in Krishna, that is called raga. This is a definition verse of rag. What is it? It has Premamai Trishna involved in it, which means what? Unquenchable loving thirst for what? Krishna, for the object of our affection. That's called rag. Unquenchable loving thirst, 24 hours a day. And what does that give rise to? That unquenchable loving thirst, it gives rise to spontaneous and intense absorption. Like Mother Yashoda? Is she spontaneously and intensely absorbed? Yes. All the Brijavasis, they have that characteristic. That's what their nature is composed of. So that absorption, that spontaneous and intense absorption in the object, namely Krishna, That is called rag. Now, such ragamayi bhakti, or the performance of services such as stringing garlands, with intense rag, it is called ragatmika bhakti. So whatever the Vrajavasis do has intense rag. When they're stringing garlands or whatever they're doing, whatever service they're doing, intense rag. Then he quotes the verse from Madhya Lila Chaitanya Charitamrita. Ragamayi bhaktir hoy ragatmika nam. So ragamayi bhakti is named what? Ragamayi bhakti means the bhakti that consists of rag, that is called ragatmika. The bhakti that is ragamayi, that consists of rag, is called ragatmika. Taha shuni labda hoy kono bhagyavan. Oh, do we want to become fortunate? Yes. Here it's telling who is fortunate. If upon hearing of this, if a devotee upon hearing of this intense absorption of the eternal associates, so if upon hearing of this a devotee becomes intensely anxious to obtain such devotion, then he is considered to be the most fortunate. This is the most fortunate. Until the point that we've attained that, we're not the most fortunate. We're fortunate, but we're not the most fortunate. Then he quotes the verse from Madhya Lila 22, 153. Lobhe vrajavasir bhave kore anugati. Lobhe vrajavasir bhave kore anugati. Shastra yukti nahi mane raganugar prakriti. So this is telling about raganuga. What is the prakriti? What is the nature of raganuga? So here it is. When one follows in the footsteps of the residents of Braj, that's called anugati. Lobhe, with greed, vrajavasir bhave kore anugati. With greed, one follows anugati in the footsteps of the Brajavasis. And he does not care for the injunctions of the scriptures or for logical arguments. Shastra yukti nahi mane. He doesn't care for that. The injunction of the scriptures. So what is that? When a devotee becomes like that, they're following in the footsteps of the residents of Braja and cultivating their devotional moods with intense hankering. And he doesn't care for shastric injunctions of the scriptures or even for logical arguments. No. This is called raganugar prakriti. This is the nature of spontaneous devotion. Then he quotes the verse from Madhya Lila 22 again. This is all from chapters 22. From verses 149 to 156, 57. So now here, there are two verses here that the sadhana of raganuga bhakti is of two types. Now we're going to hear about two types of sadhana in raganuga bhakti. Bahya antara ihar dui to sadhan, bahya sadak dehe kore shravana kirtan. So the sadhana of ragatmika bhakti, the sadhana of raganuga bhakti is of two types: external, which is called bahya, and internal, which is called antara. Bahya, antara. Externally, one performs hearing and chanting in the sadak deha. in the devotee body. And the outer feature, externally one performs hearing and chanting in the sadhak deha, the outer feature of a practitioner of bhakti. So that's the external feature of a practitioner of bhakti, that he's doing what? Like we discussed before, Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gana Natibi. Like the 6 Goswamis were chanting, they're doing Dandavat Pranams in their sadhak deha. So that's one type. Then Mane Nija Siddha Deha Korya Bhavana Ratri Dine Kore Vraje Krishnara Sevan. Now in the sadhak deha, the outer feature of a practitioner of bhakti, that's what we just heard about. That externally he's performing hearing and chanting. Now internally, while contemplating one's own perfected spiritual form, Siddha Deha, then one renders service to Sri Krishna in Braja day and night. Now what's the verse? This is the all-famous verse, one of the 3 verses quoted by Rupa Goswami defining Raganuga. And this is the verse that talks about the 2 different ways, internal and external. Seva sadhaka rupena. He does seva with the sadhak roop. Siddha rupena chatrahi. And he also does internal seva with the siddha roop, internally. Tadbhava lipsuna karya braja loka anusarata. So a sadhak who has greed, what is greed called? Lobha. So a sadhak who has this, do we have that yet? Do we have lobha? That's discussed extensively in the Ragvartma Chandrika. How impossible to enter Ragmarg Bhakti without lobha. But you may have the dawning of lobha, or the desire to have lobha. That's also counted in a positive way. But the actual dawning of lobha in the heart, that means you must come onto the path of Ragmarg Bhakti. Because your faith, that's also discussed, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that 2 types of faith. The first is Shastra Avadaranamayi Shraddha, that your faith is based upon the Shastras, what the Shastras have told. Avadaranamayi, you are very much fixed in that faith in the Shastras. But the second is called Bhagavat Madhurya Leelamayi Shraddha. Bhagavat Madhurya Leelamayi Shraddha. That's what means the sweet pastimes of Krishna. That you are absorbed, you are attracted, your faith is completely based in the sweetness of Krishna's transcendental pastimes. So in this verse, the Rupa Goswami is telling that Tadbhava lipsuna karya vraja loka anusarata. Anusar is different than anukar. There are 2 ways. One is to imitate a person, anukaranam. But anusaranam means to follow the essence of what they are teaching, to apply the essence, not just outwardly imitating. So a sadhak who has greed, lobha, for Raganuga Bhakti, what should that sadhak do? If he has lobha, he has greed for Raganuga Bhakti, then he should serve Sri Krishna, both in the sadhak roop and the siddha roop. How should he serve? In accordance with the bhav of the eternal devotees who are residing in Braj, the Braja Parikars. And they possess the same mood for which he aspires. So this is the process. you have to know what mood you're aspiring for. That's part of the process. If you don't know, well, maybe I would like to be a tree. Maybe I would like to be a cow. Maybe I'd like to be a flute, like this. But in Rag Marg Bhakti, this development has already taken place, that there's a greed for a particular mood that is exemplified by particular associates of Krishna. And so that's why it's called Vrajaloka Anusarata. Vrajaloka means a person who is an eternal associate in Braj. And Anusarata means to follow their moods. So in completing the translation of that verse here, that Sri Krishna, that the sadhaka who has greed, lobha, for Raganuga Bhakti should serve Sri Krishna both in the sadhak rupa and the siddha rupa, in accordance with the bhav of the eternal devotees who are residing in Braj, in accordance with their bhav. That's how you serve. These Vraj Parikar, the devotee who is residing in the eternal devotees who are residing in Braj, the devotee should serve in his internal form, his internal siddha rupa, as an eternal devotee who is a Braja Parikar, who possesses the same mood for which he aspires. So if we are aspiring for what we are told that is the highest possible aspiration, and that is to serve how? To serve Radha and Krishna. To serve in the mood of who? Rupa Manjari and the Manjaris, the Palyadasis of Srimati Radhika. So if we are going to be practicing Raganuga, then when we have attained understanding of our Siddha Rup, then internally we will be fixed on a particular associate, always being absorbed in their bhav. The bhav for which we aspire. Tad bhava lipsuna karya. Lipsuna means to aspire for that bhav. So the sadhak group refers to the physical body in which one is presently situated, and the siddha rup refers to the internally contemplated spiritual form that is suitable to serve Krishna according to one's cherished desire. So that's a lot to swallow for us today, is it not? Yeah? That's a lot to process. We should do this kind of processing continually because this is our sadhana. This is what we have to become absorbed in. And so by hearing about this, this will at least give us a clue how we can begin to enter onto this pathway. We all know that Kirtaniya Sadahari, to chant the holy names of Krishna, as Mahaprabhu has told, 24 hours. But the 8th verse, which we're studying here of Upadeshamrita, is telling us, Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu. That will be, that hearing and chanting will involve name, form, qualities, pastimes, associates, all of these individual personalities that are in the spiritual realm. Our hearing and chanting will involve that. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam is topmost scripture, because their direct pastimes are recorded. And especially the ultimate, the Mahalila. What's the Mahalila? That's the Ras Lila. Because within the Ras Lila also, all subsidiary Leelas are going on within that. So that is the ultimate topmost pastimes. And so that's why Gurudev has given us these books that we should read. He's also given us the Ras Panchadhyay, which we're going to get around to. We definitely will. Mahavir Maharaj was telling me that he completed that book with Russian devotees that he has a group of, and the translator. So he's read through that entire book with this Russian group of devotees. So these are the treasures. These are the jewels that we can keep in our bag. We can put these jewels into our bag. That's why this bag cannot just be called a regular bag. It has to be called a treasure chest bag, where we keep jewels. Yes. Okay, Gaur Premanande. We will finish this in the next class, and then we'll read some from Ragvartma Chandrika. So that will be the class on Sunday. And Sunday is also Srila Jiva Goswami's. We were reading that's his appearance day, right? So, I think so. Let me just check again. Disappearance. Yeah, that's a big day at the Radha Damodar temple. I was in Braj on that day some years ago. Okay. Short kirtan. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Rupa Raguna, Rupa Raguna, Rupa Raguna, Jaya Rupa Raguna. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jai Go, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Go, Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Jai Shri Rupa Goswami Pada Ki Jai, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami Pada Ki Jai, Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai, Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Brindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Vansha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.